Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Sunday afternoon from Houston, Texas. It'll be the Houston Texans and the New Orleans Saints noon kickoff on CBS. I want to talk about things from the Texans perspective. We'll bring in Coty Davis. He is the Texans beat reporter for Locked On Texans and Texans Daily. Joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Coty, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm trying to decide, do I want to wear a black and gold suit to the game, only because I do bleed black and gold. Let me just say that.
You bleed black and gold, yet you're covering the Texans. Help me out with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, my family is from New Orleans, so, of course, I grew up rooting for the Saints. Let's just say the Texans, covering the Texans is my day job. But, once I'm done with the writing and the podcasting, yeah, I do go back and watch the Saints.
All right. Well, let's start with the Saints then, because obviously you're paying attention. It was a good start, and then the offense bottomed out, and then all of a sudden they go to New England and pitch a shutout and play well on offense. So what do you make of this Saints team as they enter this game with Houston?
I just think it's still two things that you got to try to keep in mind. One, health in terms of things that's going on with Derek Carr, with the shoulder injury and stuff. And two, and most importantly, I just think this team is still is a team that is still trying to find that chemistry and that camaraderie. You see Alvin Kamara, just came back. Michael Thomas, he's still trying to get, in the worst of things. Then on top of all that, you still got Derek Carr, who, not only just battling through the injuries and stuff, but he is also trying to find his way on the new team and stuff. So, I tell people all the time, just give the New Orleans Saints some time. And I truly believe that game against New England Patriots was a turnaround game, I must admit.
We shall see. I think a lot of people figured the Saints would win their division. There was some expectation on this team adding an established quarterback to a fairly solid roster. Like, this should be a team that should push off the dot and compete for the NFC South. I think the opposite was probably true for the Texans, who have played musical chairs with their coaches over the last couple of years, and now they get D'Amico Ryans in. I mean, was there any expectation on the Texans as we entered August?
Not really. I know, for me, I looked at this from a standpoint of the Texans literally still trying to find themselves as a franchise. I mean, I'm pretty sure you all seen it from afar. Ever since they blew that big lead against the Kansas City Chiefs in a divisional round game in 2019, I think it was. It's been a bad rebuild here in the city of Houston. You go through two head coaches, you go through quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after the first franchise quarterback that you thought you was going to have for the next 10 or so years decided he didn't want to play for you. So it's just been a mess. So you bring in D'Amico Ryans, who literally has just changed the culture of this franchise. You draft C.J. Stroud, you draft Will Anderson. And the one thing that I've always looked at the Texans this season, I said, I'm going to temper the expectations. I always knew that they were going to be competitive, but I always said that, especially with you having a rookie quarterback like C.J., you got to give him time to develop. You got to give him time to find his niche, find his groove, and just try to understand what it means to go through your reads, your progression, and everything else on the NFL level. Thought it was going to take some time. Now, must admit, did not see CJ adjusting this fast to the NFL, but, I think the game against the Atlanta Falcons was basically a reality call to where, things might be looking extremely better than what we thought it was going to be this early into the season. This is still a young team, still a young quarterback, still a young coach, and they're still going to have to go through that development and that learning process.
How would you describe how the Texans have handled C.J. Stroud? Like, throw him in the deep end, go get it? Have they made some easy throws, some easy things for him to get him acclimated to? Like, what has his play looked like through the first 5 weeks of his NFL career?
Oh, man, well, I'm pretty sure you guys seen it, but his play has looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
Especially after a year that you're just finishing covering Davis Mills. It's like a complete 180, I must admit. But, the one thing about CJ that I would say, man, I think the Texans, and I've been told this, they've been kind of shocked, surprised how fast he's been able to just develop and just learn this game at the highest level so quickly. And the thing with CJ, it's like you got to keep in mind that, one, not only is he learning and developing, but two, he's not that much in a favorable situation. When you look at the offensive line unit, I mean, we are going into week 6, and at least 4 out of the last, let's say, 5-6 weeks, the offensive line has been so banged up to the point it's basically just been a musical chairs around that point. I think this week might be the first time this season that Coach D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Stroud will have an opportunity to put the same 5 guys out there on the offensive front, which goes back to your question, how C.J. Stroud has looked. This is a man who has adapted to his situation. He has utilized all of his weapons, well, the weapons that's available to him, because even coming into this season, I didn't think C.J. Stroud was going to have enough weapons to thrive like the way he is. And then you also got to keep in mind when you look at him kind of adapting to his situation that's somewhat unfavorable, the run game hasn't been there as well. So, that's the thing about CJ. He has literally found a way to adapt, and that has allowed the Texans organization to trust him a lot more with everything that they're trying to do, which coming into the season seems like they were going to start out being a running team, but with the rushing attack being so bad, of course, you got to flip that now, and it's just allowed the Texans to just trust him to do a lot more on the field.
Why would you say the running game has struggled? Is it a talent issue at tailback? Is it offensive line issues? What's been the biggest problem trying to run the football?
Honestly, I think it's a mixture of both. Damian Pierce, in my opinion, he's going through a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
And we actually just finished talking to offensive coordinator Bobby Sawyer, and he was asked a similar question. And Sawyer said that Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary, who, just signed over from the Buffalo Bills this offseason, they're still trying to get adjusted to the run scheme. And the injuries to the offensive line has not made things a lot easier for the rushing attack. So, the talent is there, but it's just the mixture of that camaraderie, that chemistry, and everything else in between. It just hasn't been there.
Coty, one more before we get you out of here. How's our guy Tari Eason doing for the Rockets? I know you cover the Rockets as well.
Oh, man, Tari Eason is looking really good, man. I consider him one of the biggest steals from the 2022 draft. Tari Eason, man, that guy, he plays hard. The one thing about him and that I always find amazing, even going back looking at his time at LSU, he's a decent scorer, but it seems like he doesn't need plays in order to score. I know one thing former head coach Stephen Silas used to say a lot, and new coach Ime Udoka said the same thing we talked to him on yesterday, is that the ball finds energy when he's around, and he is a guy that every time he's on the court, he's going to give you 110% effort, man. And right now he's a fan favorite down here in the city of Houston. Another team that's basically on the rise, and it's kind of similar to the Texans. You really don't want to put too much expectations on them, but Tari Eason is one of those guys who has really established himself as a foundational piece for that organization.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.